right, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream, where we bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities that are at a key inflection point and have those multiple catalysts in place for that massive upside. Which brings us to Snow Lake Energy, LITM on NASDAQ, which is a pure play on the nuclear renaissance, pure play on the technology boom and everything that requires massive amounts of electricity. Frank, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Frank, the stock is actually breaking out today, where I think it was just 516 if I saw it. So the stock is exploding. We got major buy signals, technical buy signals on the stock. But we're going to talk about the fundamentals. The charts on the stock look absolutely amazing right now. So that tells us something big could be happening fundamentally. And we know that you have the catalysts are there. And we're going to be talking about that today. You started drilling on the massive Wyoming project. You have drilling going on the Namibia uranium project. So you have two district scale projects. And I think everybody was waiting for Wyoming, right? There seemed to be a lot of interest in the Wyoming project drilling.
Yes, we started our first drill hole on Monday. We've completed our first drill hole. We have a very aggressive 125,000 feet of drilling planned on Pine Ridge. We currently have one drill operating. Once that gets smoothly operating, we're looking to bring in a second drill. The objective of that drill program is to establish a drill database sufficient so we can calculate an initial resource estimate by the end of this year. And again, we're drilling on only one portion of the project. It's a massive 37,000 acre project, and we're just drilling on one portion of it. It'll take us a number of years to drill off the entire project, but the drilling we're doing this year will be sufficient for us to calculate that initial resource estimate. So your catalyst is first look-see at how much uranium is there on this portion of the project by the end of this year. That's our current target.
Okay, so we're just showing them the map of the project. Yep. Again, district scale project. I think there was a talk of potentially, what is it? There was a target of 50 million pounds that was put out by your partner, your Australian partner, 50 million pounds.
Correct. Pine Ridge is a 50-50 joint venture between Snow Lake and Global Uranium and Enrichment, which is GUE on the ASX. They're a 50% partner in that. And under the Australian mining code, JORC, they are able to put out an exploration target. We're under SEC SK 1300 rules, so we can't quote it. But if you Google GUE's website, you can see they have a target of 50 million pounds of uranium on Pine Ridge. That would make it the second largest resource of uranium in Wyoming. And Wyoming, as you'll recall, is the largest domestic producer of uranium in the US.
Yeah.
So as some people say, we're an elephant country as far as uranium goes in Wyoming.
Yeah, and you're right, Nick. You're in between. You're sandwiched in between. Actually, let me see if we can show the map between two projects. I think one is from, what is it, the uranium
UEC to the north and Cameco to the south. The Smith Ranch Cameco has the largest permitted uranium mill in Wyoming. I believe it's north of 5 million pounds a year capacity. It's currently on care and maintenance right now, but our Pine Ridge project is sandwiched between those two major companies.
Okay,
and so Powder River Basin is the premier uranium producing district in the entire U.S.
Okay,
so we're literally in the heart of that.
Yeah, and again, 40,000 acres. Again, massive. It's a massive project. So 50 million pounds is roughly, I'm going to call it $5 billion would be total value if assuming it's all mine. But even at I guess you do net present value, you discount. You still have a couple $100 million upside. I think once you get an initial resource, I think. No, I mean, does that make sense?
Look, mining goes through a variety of stages. The first stage, the good news is we're in Wyoming. in the Powder River Basin. We know there's uranium mineralization there. There is some historical drilling that we have all the data on. So the good news is we're not out looking for uranium. We're trying to prove up how much uranium is actually there. So we're doing this massive drill program this year on a portion of the project to get a first look-see as to how much uranium is in that portion of the project. That's what we're targeting by the end of the year. But certainly the geologic location, the known existence of the uranium mineralization gives us good hope that we'll come up with a good initial resource estimate, and then we'll continue to build on that over the next couple of years as we continue to drill.
Okay. But the resource estimate, let's say you get an initial resource estimate, right? That could be a let's say, again, we don't know until we have more drilling results, right? And which is happening right now. The drilling is going on now.
Sure.
Let's say we get to this resource estimate. Potentially there is a path once if the numbers are good, that would be a catalyst for Snow Lake to get a valuation of, let's say, potentially a couple $100 million based on the resource estimate. You're trading at right now, what is it, 30 million valuation right now, roughly 40 million,
approximately,
30 million, right?
Yes.
Yep. And you have, I think, 15 million in cash in the bank still, no? Roughly.
Yep.
So essentially, the way I see this is like at least a 10x upside. I mean, this stock has. And what I like about Snow Lake, again, this is my opinion. It's just I'm looking at this as an investor. Is you have multiple pathways for this thing to be a 10 bagger, for this thing to be to increase to potentially. Or at least $25-$50 a share, potentially. Again, not advice. These are high-risk stocks. They can all go to zero. But there are multiple pathways. Again, you get the resource estimate coming up. You have the Namibia project. Let's talk about also, you had some news that came out. You've made some strategic investments recently in some critical minerals projects. What was the thinking behind that?
Perhaps before we get to those investments, let me just sort of put the perspective around Pine Ridge. And again, I'm going to go to the current administration, the new administration in the US, which is focusing on obviously nuclear, but also critical minerals. And critical minerals run from antimony to uranium to rare earths. What we are looking at, and I was on site at Pine Ridge last week, GUE and ourselves, we did a site tour last week in order to get, before the drilling started. So I've walked the property, not the entire 37,000 acres, but I've been on the project last week. And part of the focus of the discussions between us and our partner was, what can we do to move this project through development, potentially into commercial production before the end of the term of the current administration, which is about 3.5-4 years from now. So that was the focus. So yes, the drilling is the first step to establish the resource estimate, but we have spent a lot of time planning. What do we need to do on permitting? Permitting is obviously something that the current administration is looking at streamlining. So we're looking at that. We're looking at the environmental work we need to do, and we're looking at all the technical work we need to do. So there's a lot of internal work that we're doing to see if we can, if you will, fast track this through development within the term of the current administration. That, bringing that project into commercial production, if we're able to do that, if the numbers prove up within the next 4 years, that is the big catalyst for delivering value to shareholders, because that plays into exactly what the current administration is trying to do, which is accelerate domestic production in the US of critical minerals. So that's the uranium piece. Now we can turn to your question, which is some of the other investments. Uranium is our focus, but we're opportunistic, we are funded, and we do get approached regularly with opportunities. And there's a number of opportunities that we're pursuing. First one is in uranium. We're looking at taking an equity position in an Australian company, GTI Energy, which has a uranium project immediately to the south of Pine Ridge. They recently published a scoping study. They already have 8 million pounds of uranium there. So that's an opportunistic investment in uranium. The second one we did, which is earlier this year, we've taken an equity interest in a company called Commerce Resources, which owns 100% of a rare earth project up in northern Quebec. And it's one of the largest higher grade undeveloped REE projects in North America. Not domestic US, but in Canada, a trading partner and ally of the United States. So again, domestic North American footprint. The third one, which we announced, is we have taken a position in a company called Resolution Minerals. Resolution Minerals has a project called Horse Heaven, which is an antimony gold project, which is immediately to the west of Perpetua Resources' Stibnite project.
What is antimony gold?
Antimony is a metal. Gold. It's an antimony / gold project.
Oh, okay. I heard of antimony. Okay. So
Yeah,
antimony
no.
Antimony and gold.
It's got gold. It has
Okay.
antimony. It has tungsten. Antimony obviously is something that the U.S., in particular the U.S. military, is interested in. But if you look at Perpetua Resources, which has a project immediately next door, they have recently received funding from the US government. They're going to get debt funding from Exim Bank, and they've just completed an equity offering. It's a $2.2 billion project. They have all the permits, and it's going to supply about 35% of the US's antimony needs. Okay. Now, Resolution Minerals, that has the project next door, the Horse Heaven project, that we've taken an equity interest in, the geologists believe it is very similar, if not identical, to Perpetua Resources project. So they are going to start a drill program in August, again, starting to prove up gold resources, antimony resources, and tungsten resources, antimony being the primary target there. Okay. So again, from a Snow Lake perspective, what this investment strategy is doing is looking at critical minerals that are of interest to the current administration, hopefully with a US domestic, if not North American footprint. So again, being funded, being opportunistic, being in critical metals, with the tailwinds from the current administration policies, we feel ultimately they can provide, if the projects are successful, shareholder value. Simple as that.
Frank, all the stars are aligned for what you're doing for Snow Lake here. I mean, again, it's interesting. This is I'm calling it the pure Trump play. This stock, Snow Lake, LITM, because again, the uranium boom is, I think. Well, look, we've been talking about this. There's a couple of generational mega trends which are all converging. You have this tipping point happening right now where you have massive need for electricity by the, something we've talked about, by, these AI data centers, crypto, electric vehicles, Musk, same thing. So Musk is now building these, he's building these diners. Have you heard of this? He's building these diners.
I love that.
Which, by the way, I think is brilliant, because now it's going to be he could become like a McDonald's by building these diners all over the U.S. On major routes, like all over the highway system, just like what McDonald's did, right? Where you have the charging station, because hey, you got to park the car for 20 minutes to charge the car, right? Like I'm driving, I always see these things, like there's like a Tesla charging stations. You got to wait. People are there 20 minutes. You might as well have the burger or the milkshake, whatever he's selling. And, you got the robots in there. And guess what? Those things need a massive amount of electricity. They're not going to get that from solar. They're not going to get that from wind. And we know that Trump hates wind. He hates the windmills and the solar. And he's pushing nuclear. You know who else loves nuclear right now? You're going to be shocked. I mean, you know this probably, is the New York State, the governor of New York State, which is like almost as far left as California. The governor of New York State is pushing for a nuclear reactor. They're going to build the first nuclear plant in New York in like a generation, maybe because they're waking up. I mean, so listen, if New York is waking up that they need nuclear, to fuel basically, modern life, or for the to have not even fuel, sustainability of modern life, then everybody else is going to do it. And we know what's happening. Uranium is picking up. The uranium prices are on the move. The big thing is, I think what are we at, $75, $78 a pound right now for uranium?
Approximately, yeah, mid-70s-ish, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And look, when this thing gets going, I think we can go to my target on uranium is the chart target is $308.
We would like that.
It's very poetic, right? Like
if you can make that happen, yes, that would be wonderful. And look, I think from our perspective, I think when you stand back, you look at the policies that the U.S. administration is putting in place, we are actually looking at, we think, a once in a generation opportunity.
It is. It's everything is aligned, yeah. Yes. Because it's not just Trump, right? Because half the country doesn't like Trump, right? But now you get all the everybody, like if New York State is waking up to this, you got all the tech companies. They're not exactly on the far right? The tech companies like Google, Facebook, they're pushing Palantir, they're pushing for nuclear. And also these SMR, small medium reactors, which, by the way, we haven't talked about, but you have a partnership or an investment in a company that's developing these SMRs, right?
Correct. We do. Another good example that was recently in the news about implementation of the U.S. policies, basically, if you will, putting their money where their mouth is MP Materials, which has the Mountain Pass rare earth mine on the border of Nevada and California. The Department of Defense just invested $400 million into that company. Apple just invested $500 million into the company, and they just did a public offering of approximately $600 million, I believe. And this is for rare earths, so that they can build rare earth magnets. So I think that is a concrete example of where you've got not only the government, you've got industry, and you've got the public realizing and investing in critical minerals in the U.S. with a U.S. footprint, as I like to say. And again, that's in order to develop domestic supply chain. And this comes back to the administration's policy of ensuring not only national security, but more importantly, energy security.
Yeah, no, this is, again, all the stars have aligned. And, in Europe, Japan, everybody knows that they have to go with nuclear energy. And again, one thing which was very interesting, you announced, or you kind of outlined your vision of which I think is a great word, a full spectrum. You're seeing that Snow Lake as a full spectrum player in the nuclear space, full spectrum, which means from production, exploration for, Frank, you say it in your own words.
Full spectrum is a good example. Another way of calling it is the nuclear energy supply chain. Everyone's familiar with supply chains. So we're starting at the top end of the supply chain, dealing with uranium mining. The next phase in the supply chain is uranium enrichment. Now, we in addition to our joint venture on Pine Ridge with GUE, we also own a 19.9% equity stake in GUE. And GUE in turn owns 24% of a private Australian company developing next generation uranium enrichment technology that has just witnessed a $5 million investment from Urenco. Urenco, as you know, is the second largest uranium enrichment company in the world. So that's the enrichment piece. And as you mentioned, we have a partnership with Exodus Energy, my apologies, looking to develop SMRs based on existing technology, not new technology. So those are what I call footprints down the nuclear energy supply chain. That's how we start to build out the
basically, the stock, essentially it's a pure play on, the nuclear boom. Again, that's what it is. And you have positions across on all the spots on the board.
We have assets and investments up and down the supply chain, which I think makes us a bit unique, if you will, having a footprint in the mining space, having a footprint in the enrichment space, and a footprint, which is coming together in the SMR space.
What's interesting? I'm going to use a metaphor. You might not like this metaphor, but it's kind of like you have bets. It's like on a craps table. You have bets on all the numbers. You have chips on all the numbers. But the difference is here, you're not going to get the sub. You can't lose because you have this massive pent up demand, the fundamental driver for electricity and everything else. So we know that nuclear is it's happening, right? We know it's happening. There's no question about it today. There was a question about it 3 years ago, maybe 4 years, 5 years ago, for sure. It was always like, the people pushing it, but it was kind of not there. Now we're there. And you have everybody from the tech sector to the political sector, everybody. I mean, again, from across the aisle, from Trump to the New York State governor, who's on the left. I mean, everybody's pushing it. Yep. So, and that's on all the pieces. Enrichment, reactors, the little baby reactors, SMRs, and massive exploration projects. I think I mean, I'm trying to think. And also you have critical minerals, which is kind of strategically related. It's aligned. It's
100%.
Adjacent.
100%. Yeah.
Frank, I was saying the one thing that you need now is to be the pure Trump play stock is crypto. Yeah. I think you're one of the few companies that hasn't announced the crypto treasury strategy. If you did, maybe the stock would go to the moon. But let's focus on uranium. But that is, again, this is the pure. I'm calling it the pure Trump play, LITM, because this is the administration is so aggressively pushing nuclear energy and having U.S. Production of critical minerals that I mean, and again, you have chips on all the numbers on the board. It's
as I like to say, Jack, without uranium, you don't have nuclear power, you don't have big tech, you don't have AI, you don't have data centers,
or crypto, and you don't have crypto. That's why
you don't have crypto. And there is not enough uranium in the world right now. So what does that mean? The world needs, and the U.S. needs, more uranium mines. And that's where our primary focus is, on Pine Ridge, seeing if we can turn that into a uranium mine within the next 3.5 years, within the term of the existing U.S. administration, because the tailwinds are there.
Yeah.
Develop that.
Now, speaking of that, so the goal is, again, back to the fundamentals. The end goal is to turn Pine Ridge, that's the Wyoming property, into a producing uranium mine.
Correct.
And to do the same thing with the Namibia project as well.
Correct.
Both of these could be, again, if you get to that point, there's a path to get there. It's going to take a couple of years, but that could be, that's $1 billion moonshot. I mean, that would be a producing uranium mine. Let's say you have a 50 million pound resource. Wouldn't it be worth roughly $1 billion at today's value? Today's uranium price.
I'll let others calculate the valuation. Okay. Our focus is on, taking advantage of the backdrop of the administration policies, and seeing if we can't fast track this into development. Is that aggressive? 100%. Is it realistic? Yes, with a lot of hard work. So that's our primary focus, and that's how we feel we're going to generate value for our shareholders.
Yeah. Again, I think you probably can't emphasize enough. I don't know if people who may not be familiar with mining, they don't realize it. But again, until Trump came into office, getting any type of mining project in the U.S. going and putting a mine into production would be like, impossible almost, right? And now they're fast tracking everything.
Exactly. And another example is Perpetua Resources with their antimony gold project in Idaho. It has now received all of its federal permits. It's in the process of arranging its final piece of construction financing. They are going to start building that project, if not later this year, next year. It's a $2.2 billion project. And Perpetua has, ironically, about a $2 billion market cap as well. So it gives you an example as to how the markets are treating critical metal projects, mines in the U.S.
Yeah, no, it's big. Okay, let's get back to near-term catalysts, because again, most of our audience, they're short-term oriented. I think very few people are gonna have the patience to hold out, for the big money to be made when Snow Lake gets into production. Or I should say, if we can't say it guarantee, but because let's say the mine gets into production, it's let's call it 3 years out. Plus, most people, they're who are watching this, their timeline is anywhere from 30 seconds to a week, if we're lucky. So we have to focus on near-term catalysts that can move the stock. So let's talk about those. What do we have? What kind of news flow? What are the catalysts right now? You got the drilling. Those are the main catalysts? The drill results coming up?
Yeah, I think drilling on Pine Ridge in Wyoming, drilling on Ango Valley in Namibia, and pulling together our joint venture with Exodus on the SMRs. Details of that are being worked out right now. We hope to have that. We gave an update about a month ago that we're closing in on final sort of structure of that transaction. So we hope to have that. That's probably what's going to come out over the next several months. Those are the critical things.
Okay. In terms of assays, what are those coming out? The assays from the drill results?
Well, with uranium drilling, you do the drilling and then you insert a gamma probe, which gives you initial results. So we should, once we get a sufficient number of holes done on Pine Ridge, same with Ango Valley, we get the gamma probe results. Typically, uranium exploration companies announce the gamma probe results. They are ultimately confirmed by chemical assays. So we hopefully will have initial preliminary results in the middle of the drill program. I can't give an exact date right now.
Okay.
That typically comes before chemical assays. And there's always a caution on the gamma probe results because they're preliminary, ultimately confirmed.
Okay.
Yes, we should have preliminary results within the next couple of months, hopefully.
Okay, so from this gamma, telling you how much radiation there is, you can measure.
Correct. That's an initial measurement of the amount of uranium in the drill hole.
Very interesting. I wasn't okay, and okay, so that makes it easier. Uranium, I guess, in a way, is easier than.
It's a little easier because you get those preliminary results, whereas if you're drilling gold, you have to wait for the chemical assays.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And how accurate? How much correlation is there between the gamma and the ultimate chemical?
Very close. It's a very specialized group of people that do these gamma probe analysis, and they do correlate them and calibrate the gamma probes regularly. So generally, there is a very good correlation, but ultimately, you need to do the chemical assays.
Okay, but basically, I guess what I'm asking is, okay, so essentially, the gamma probe results, when you publish those are catalysts to move the stock, because if those are positive, indicating that there's a bunch of uranium here, economically viable, uranium, the stock will move because they figure that the chemical assays will probably be very close.
Yeah.
So that is, and the first of those is coming when?
Again, we literally just started drilling on Pine Ridge on Monday. Drilling is
Monday, like literally this Monday.
Yes, 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay, right. We're on Wednesday. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How far down have they drilled so far?
The first hole was 1,200 feet.
Wow. Okay. How does that work?
If you look on our Twitter or our X feed, I posted a picture of the drill rig yesterday afternoon.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to go there right now. We're going to. You should have told me, Frank. I would have been there. What what is it? Snow Lake?
Snow Lake Energy. You should be able to find it.
I'm going to pull it up. Snow Lake Energy. Here we go. Snow Lake. I'm going to pull up the Twitter. We'll get you some followers here. Okay, here we go. Oh, there it is. Hang on a second. Let's pull it up. Wait.
There we go.
There we go. There's the drill. Okay. Drilling now underway at Snow Lake's Pine Ridge Uranium Project in the prolific Powder River Basin in Wyoming. And there it is.
There's the drill.
It's a serious drill. Okay, it's a big truck.
Yep.
Okay, and this is all like a prairie, right? It's all like wide open land out there, huh?
It's the Powder River Basin, yes, gently rolling hills. It's ranch land. Yeah.
Huh, okay.
So we'll continue to, as we get more pictures, I've asked for some drone pictures, so we'll get some drone pictures. We'll continue to post updates as we get them. But yes, hot off the press as of Monday. There you go.
I bet Trump is following your account because he loves uranium. He loves domestic uranium in Wyoming. That's
Wyoming is the epicenter of uranium production in the U.S. Simple as that. And we hope to join that club.
Yeah, no, amazing. Okay, so the drill is there. Now, what's next? Are you going to have how is the drill program going to roll out? Like, what's
as you can see, the drilling is, the very experienced drillers in Wyoming, obviously. There's lots of oil and gas, lots of uranium projects there. So very experienced drillers. Our plan was to get the initial number of holes done. We have been in discussions with the driller of potentially bringing on a second drill. And the purpose of that would be to accelerate the drill program, to make sure that we do get the resource estimate before the end of the year, maybe even bring it forward a few weeks from the end of the year. So right now we have one drill rig, hope to add a second one over the next couple of months.
Okay, and just to clarify, so one drill rig, right? How much drilling, and they're drilling what, 7 days a week, or how many days a week are they drilling?
Yep.
7 days a week. And how much?
If we have a 125,000 foot program, and if we could do 1,250 feet a day, that's 100 days.
Okay, so 3 months, roughly 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
4 months. Okay. And that's what they're drilling right now. They're drilling every day, 1,000 plus feet.
That's the target.
Okay, that's a lot. 1,000 feet. Okay, that's okay. So
these are pretty good guys.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's okay. So basically, the catalysts are basically you literally have right now a pipeline of catalysts. I mean, assuming that these guys continue, like there's no
sure, 100%.
Disaster or whatever, acts of God, something that stops it. But yeah, so essentially, we're going to have some major. I mean, the catalysts are basically built into the stock right now. That's the way I see it in terms of that. Okay, this thing is going to go for the next 3-4 months. The stock is probably going to move way in advance of you actually putting out any of these numbers from this the gamma probe stuff. Just the way it's always the way it works.
We have drills turning on 2 projects. That's the nature of the business. Results will follow. Fingers crossed, they'll be good.
Okay, excellent. All right, Frank. Thank you for the update. When do you think we can have you back on next time? When is the next time that you expect some major type of news?
I would say probably early September. I mean, we are moving into kind of the summer season. I understand the U.S. Congress has just gone on summer recess. I think most people are going to try and sneak away for a bit of R&R over the next month or so. But come Labor Day, come September 1, hopefully we'll have a month of drilling under our belts in Wyoming. And everyone's back to work. Kids are back to school.
Wait, I want to ask you, in terms of doing these gamma probes, what's the earliest that you can actually do it? I mean, are you waiting until you have a bunch of core samples, or can you do it when can you do it basically?
No, as soon as the hole is drilled,
okay,
the gamma probe can be inserted downhole into the drill hole.
Okay.
So they work, the technical folks who do the gamma probe, they work hand in hand with the drillers.
Oh, okay. So it's happening literally right now. So in other words,
correct.
Monday the guy drills a hole, Tuesday the gamma crew shows up.
That is one of the advantages of uranium exploration as opposed to gold. exploration
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're measuring radiation, obviously, from the uranium. You don't have that in gold. So gold, if you're pulling out a core sample, you
Yeah.
do need to send that off for chemical assays, which can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
Yeah,
So we
it's a
get these
lab.
initial, exactly. So we get these initial results right off the bat. We don't publish them hole by hole. We wait till we have a critical mass of holes. Then we put it, well, we have to look at the results, obviously,
Okay.
too.
Critical
And
mass. How do you define that? What would be a critical mass? What does that mean?
I don't have a particular number, but just the comment. One of the advantages of the gamma probe results is it helps you locate your next drill hole because it gives you an immediate view of what kind of uranium mineralization you're drilling through. That allows you to fine tune your drilling program. The
Okay.
geologists already have a drill map set out as to where they'd like to put the drill holes. But what the gamma probe does is it gives us real-time information, which helps the geologist fine-tune where the next drill hole is going to go. So that actually is an advantage when you're doing uranium exploration, again, over something like gold.
Oh,
where you have to
big
treat
time.
your assays.
Yeah, Frank. I mean, listen. I didn't know this. I mean, I'm glad I'm doing this live stream. I learned about this gamma probe stuff because, I kind of, I'm always used to these assays taking forever. With
And
gold and other stuff,
we
like
still
months,
do it.
months, and
And it
people
does.
don't want to wait.
Yep,
Here,
it
you're
does.
getting instant.
We do get instant results, but one of the major benefits of it is it helps us fine tune the next.
Yeah. No, you can tack. You can tack with depending on what you're getting. Like
exactly.
That's incredible. Okay, so that's very powerful. Okay, so in theory, again, I'm not a geologist, but I'm assuming, let's say a critical mass. Let's say if things go well, I'm sure you have people who know what they're doing. I mean, they're not just randomly drilling. They're not just showing up and saying, they have a plan, right? So they already know pretty much, okay, here is where there. So let's assume things go well. Is it possible that you can have this critical mass in the next, let's call it 2-3 weeks? I mean, I think that would be enough time. That's 30,000 feet roughly.
I would probably say Labor Day would be realistic. Okay. Let the guys do their work. Let them fine tune the drill program. And as I say, most people are going to be away at some point over the next 6 weeks. So everyone will be back come Labor Day, typically. So that would be when I would think we would have enough initial indication.
I'll tell you though, I think it's different. The market has really changed a lot in the last couple of years. Like there's no more like vacations. I mean, you have right now people on Robinhood, they're trading 24/7 worldwide, and there's no vacations because we have like the people buying the stock are literally like our audience is like literally worldwide. I mean, like we have guys I'm getting like on our the TikTok channel we have. I'm getting like people from like Ghana, from everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, and they don't know what Labor Day is. Somewhere, I mean, it's whatever. They just want to. They need action in the stock. So if you could just like if you can just tell these
when we have something to announce. We will announce it once we have.
Don't wait. Please, Frank, don't wait till Labor Day. We have a massive audience. People they're impatient. They want those results immediately. And the stock looks like it's ready to explode. I mean, really, the charts are. You have a great setup on the charts. I mean, right now it's once again. I know we're not doing investment opinion. I know that's not your thing, but for anybody watching, I highly suggest you look at the hourly charts, the 1 hour chart, the 4 hour chart, and you can see that LITM it's going to fill a gap right around $6, and after that, there's no resistance in the stock. It's just going to be like escape velocity. It could run to $10-$25 overnight, and that's the thing with these uranium stocks. I mean, the gamma. I mean, this is like instant. You have like a real time. You can have, lightning fast stuff. It's not like gold exploration, which takes 6 months to get assays, right?
Well, and as I indicated, it also helps us with our drill program because unlike gold, where you drill a hole, you have to send it off for assays. You don't get the results for 6 months, but you don't wait 6 months before you drill the next hole. You go and drill the next hole. So certainly in uranium exploration, we have that advantage where we get some initial results, which, as I say, help the guys on the ground, the geologists, the drillers, select the best possible position for the next drill hole, trying to ensure the best possible results.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so it sounds like bottom line is there's a lot of exciting catalysts with Snow Lake. I mean, you have,
We have a lot of work underway right now, and there
yeah,
will be results coming out.
and it's a pure play on. I mean, really, it's becoming a very interesting stock because it's not like a typical, it's not like a typical mining stock where it's just focused on one project and one. You have like it's almost, I don't want to say a holding company approach almost, but you kind of are in a way like a pure play, you have this portfolio of assets across uranium, like you have a lot of diversification here. So it's like, unlike a lot of these mining stocks, they can just, blow up if they don't hit. I mean, you have a lot of diversification, but you have these big opportunities as well. So it's not, it's a really very interesting approach. So I commend you on that. All right, Frank, thank you again. Hopefully we'll have some good surprises. Maybe in a couple of weeks, you have the gamma probe results.
Stay tuned.
All right, fantastic. All right, thank you everybody for joining. We'll see you all on the next one.
Thank you very much.